Good morning, everyone. What's going on? Welcome to the show. It's the Level 1 podcast for Wednesday, the 11th of February, 2026. And on today's show, we've got a lot to talk about. Like what? Well, number one, yesterday, two things basically happened at once that were of big interest. Number one, I tried out a new indie game called Crizzle Theater of Idols. And number two, I conducted an experiment during that stream. What I would like to do today is discuss the details of said experiment and their results and try to get feedback from you on how you feel it went and if I should try this moving forward. In addition, I'm getting flack because I did a video after that stream of Crizzle that basically gave my thoughts about the game after 3.5 hours, and people are saying that I was off base and unfair. We'll talk about that. In addition, today I would like to react to the Directive 8020, a trailer that released yesterday. The game finally has a release date. This is the next game from Supermassive Games. That'll be exciting. And I would like to plan more for the upcoming marathon that we're going to be holding on March 6th called the Retrothon, so we can get more of an idea of what it is and we can begin to promote and hype it up to get people to show up for it. So we've got a good amount of stuff to talk about on today's show. In addition, I want to get to Hollow Knight. And so I hope that we can get through a good amount of stuff on this show, but not drag it out. So everyone, I hope that you're here and ready to chill, sit back and relax. It's time for a very, very involved and heavy episode of the Level 1 podcast. Alrighty, everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Level 1 podcast. Again, it is Wednesday, the 11th of February, 2026. It's going to be a jam-packed show with a lot of topics to cover, which is actually why I started the show a little bit on the earlier side today. Thanks to those who are here for said show live. Now, before we even get into the content for today's show, I want to give you a little sneak preview of Friday's Level 1 podcast, which will be the last streaming day of the week. Today is actually the middle of the week. It's kind of the second half of my streaming week beginning in my 6 days of streaming today. If for those who are not aware, coming up on Thursday, there are not one, but two big digital presentations that will happen in the realm of gaming. The first is from Sony. Sony will be doing an hour-plus long state of play. And from all reports, this is going to be one of their most involved, detailed state of plays they've ever done. People are estimating some 10 or more games will actually be in-depth previewed during this event. Don't know if there's truth to that or not. People are even saying that the speculation and rumor is that Marathon, the new game from Bungie, Bungie, never mind, will actually not only be previewed and fully explained, but that a beta will likely go live immediately following the end of this state of play. So that's event number one, okay? And event number two is that it has now been announced by Konami that Konami is going to be doing their own Silent Hill transmission later on that afternoon. So you got the Sony state of play at 2 p.m. Pacific time, the Silent Hill transmission at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Now here's the thing. I'll be streaming tomorrow afternoon, gameplay. So I'm not going to be watching those events live. However, I will react to any of that stuff that goes down that's important or notable or stuff that people want to get my opinion on Friday morning's Level 1 podcast. So If you're interested in seeing me react to anything from State of Play or from the Silent Hill transmission, come by on Friday morning. That's the 13th of February. Friday the 13th. Uh-oh. I didn't realize that. But anyway, come by on Friday the 13th to get my reactions to all of that stuff. Okay? So Friday will be a very in-depth, important podcast. But what about today? We're in the middle of the week. We got a lot to talk about today. All right, we do. Yesterday was kind of an interesting and important day for me because not only was I trying out an indie game, the likes of which I likely would have skipped in the past before this year's changes to my content that I've instituted, but also I tried something different during the stream that I want to now reveal to all of you to let you know how it went. But after I finished that stream playing Crizzle Theater of Idols, I made a 10-minute video to give my honest thoughts about the game, and some people seem upset. To be honest, all right, I feel like right now on the internet, there is a bandwagon movement, a cultural mentality that says, hey, favor the indie game, kiss the indie game's butt, play the indie game, criticize, smash, say negative things about the AAA, but if it's indie, you must be nice. No. Sorry. That's not who I am. That's not who I'm ever going to be. As you know, in the over 17 years that I've been a gaming content creator on YouTube, I have always told it like it is. I don't pull punches. I don't sugarcoat. I don't favor anything. I'm honest. And so, if I play a game and I feel that we are in some kind of a situation where the game is not representative or is misrepresenting what it is to try to get sales, if the game doesn't live up to expectations that has laid out for itself, okay, I'm going to be honest about it. All right? And you might say, well, what are you talking about? So yesterday I played Crizzle Theater of Souls, okay? It is an indie game. It's made by a small studio, although the game was funded by Blumhouse, a company that makes high-profile horror movies. This is one of their first actual investments in a video game, okay? Crizzle Theater of Souls presents itself in all of its promotional materials, notably its big launch trailer, as a game that's going to be high action, okay, with tons of weapons, abilities, variety of enemies, and scares, okay? When you play the game, the first hour to hour and a half is actually really good atmosphere building of laying out the story and the environment and the elements of the things that the game's going to be. And then for the next 2 hours, the game is completely identical, doesn't try to do anything different, doesn't give you any new weapons, doesn't give you any abilities, doesn't even give you a single new enemy to fight. It just gives you the same regurgitated crap over and over. The game suffers from what you should be calling terrible pacing. Okay? Awful pacing. Whoever the game director was should have known better and say, hey, I understand atmosphere and building up suspense, but who wants to sit around for 3.5 hours with a single handgun shooting the same repetitive enemies over and over with almost no change in the environment, no change to gameplay mechanics? It's the same crap for 3.5 hours. It's boring. Okay? So I relayed that, not only in my stream of the game that I was playing, but also in my reaction video after the fact, where I clearly stated I feel the game is a bait and switch after 3.5 hours of gameplay. It says that, like right in the title of the video, so no one would get the impression that I actually played the entirety of this game. I played the first portion, and that's the impression I got, right? So basically, after having played this game, here's how the audience reacted. Very similar to how I reacted, okay? The first hour to hour and a half, we were intrigued. Ooh, it's an interesting setup. It's kind of creepy. The idea that two cults are going at each other is kind of interesting, all right? Then, when it's 2 more hours of the same, we all got bored. It wasn't just me saying that. Everyone watching the stream got literally bored of the game. We were like, this is just not it, you know? Why you even keep playing this? It's so boring. It's the same thing over and over. And now here's the thing. I played 3.5 hours. Maybe if I had played 5 hours, or 6 hours. There would have been more to it. I mean, we found the shotgun. We just hadn't been able to unlock it yet. It looks like the game's going to force you to do a lot of gameplay and backtrack to get the shotgun. How many more weapons are there in the game? I don't know. Are there ever any more abilities in the game besides just refilling your bullets with blood? I don't know. But the thing is, in 2026, game developers need to understand one critical thing, because it's very simple. You need to hook the gamer within the first couple of hours to let us know why we want to keep playing your game. You can't have an insanely long, drawn-out intro where you're building and building and building. We got better things to do, right? Our time is valuable, and we don't want to sit around waiting for there to possibly be a payoff when you're asking so much of us when it comes to time investment. Sorry, I want to know what's good about your game before I've invested 10 hours in it. I mean, we've talked about this time and time and time again over the years. Do you remember a game that actually was really good, actually had great world design, interesting story, great gameplay elements, decent graphics, but flopped miserably? The game was called Days Gone, okay? The reason Days Gone flopped was because it was a zombie survival game with drama and survivors and different storylines set in a post-apocalyptic world. It was open world, it was third person, it had cool survival mechanics, combat mechanics, taking on giant mobs of zombies and things you'd never really done in a game before. The problem was, it took over 12 hours of repetitive base destruction gameplay before you got to the good parts. And most people tapped out before they played for 12 hours. Most game reviewers outright stated, we stopped playing this game because it's so boring within the first few hours. You need to have good pacing to have a game that's going to be successful in the modern era. Crizzle does not have that. It takes the opposite route, and it very well may have good elements later in the game. It doesn't matter, because, folks, what people need to start understanding, particularly game developers and even TV show writers, is that the most valuable asset in life at this point is not money, it's time. Crizzle is a cheap game. The game is under $20. And a lot of people have given me flack in this video that I made about Crizzle saying, Phil, you're being way too harsh. This isn't a AAA game that they're charging $70 for, and you're acting like that in this video. It's a game that's under 20 bucks. You should really give it a pass. No. You don't get a pass. It doesn't matter if your game costs $1, $15, $70, or $150. If your game is boring, it's always boring. I'm sorry, but I don't want to pay any money for a game that is boring and isn't a fun experience. Therefore, I have the right to criticize it. Now, the thing is, right now, in the gaming community and online, there is a mentality to say indie games are better because they're cheaper. Indie games are better because they're not AAA with giant bloated budgets, and they're not samey, and they don't copy what everyone else did and put out another game just for profits. Therefore, you should kiss their butt. No, I'm not going to do that. Crizzle is a game that presents itself as an action-packed, BioShock-esque game when you watch its promotional materials. I didn't make the promotional materials, they did. So if they didn't want that game to look like that, they shouldn't have presented it like that. Seriously, they actually should have just shown a few statue-like enemies and the guy shooting and some dramatic scenes, and that would have been the trailer. Now, that trailer would have looked boring because the game is boring, but it would have been representative of what the game is, and then I wouldn't have called it a bait and switch. But it is a bait and switch. When you present the game in a different way, that's not representative of what the actual gameplay loop will be. And again, it doesn't matter if the game is cheap or expensive. If it's not fun, I'm going to tell you that. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, Crizzle is just not fun. Maybe if I kept playing, it would have gotten to fun parts, much like Days Gone, where you had to play 12 hours through this grindy intro crap to get to the good parts. But that's not my fault or my problem. It's the game developer's problem, because they have a game that's so boring up front. I bet most people who buy it will play it for 2 hours, say, what is this crap, and never touch it again. Now, you might say that's not a big deal because the game's only $15. Yes, it is, because you've wasted 2 hours of your time. You've already made that purchase. And most people were going to be like, well, it's not a big deal because it's not expensive. but you still shouldn't get ripped off. And if you bought that game thinking it is going to be like the trailer, you got ripped off. Doesn't matter that it was cheap. That's still your money and your time that has been wasted. A lot of people just don't seem to value time well enough anymore. You have to understand we have one life to live on this planet. The older I get, the more I realize my time is more valuable than ever before because I have less of it than ever before on Earth. Therefore, I don't want to waste my time on crap. And if the game is boring, it's crap. The game is boring, in my opinion. It's crap. I don't think that people should be fooled into thinking anything otherwise. So I made a video explaining that, but somehow I did it wrong. No, I didn't. You're doing it wrong if you're blindly defending the game because it's an indie game that's cheap. There is no reason whatsoever to be defending anything because it's cheap or made by a small studio. It still needs to be good. Crizzle is not. That's my opinion. If you disagree, you have a right to do that. But to criticize my opinion and say it's invalid and I'm being too harsh because I'm treating it like it's a AAA game is incredibly ignorant. Bottom line. Okay? So listen, it's fine. It is what it is. If people want to disagree, go for it. They already are. And there's nothing I can do about that. If you like Crizzle, good for you. All I know is I was bored of it, and so was the audience. Everyone in the chat was bored as hell. So why on earth am I in the wrong by making a video just resonating that feeling in verbal form for 10 minutes? Anyway, so that's what happened yesterday in regards to Crizzle. All right. And so you can watch the videos. By the way, almost no one has. To give you perspective here, my video about Crizzle, which is 10 minutes long, already has over 1,500 views and climbing in like 15 hours that it's been live. Okay? The actual gameplay of Crizzle, the 3.5 hours, the first part has like 400 views. The other two parts barely have 200, if that. People started watching, said, wow, this is boring, and literally never continued to watch because the game is boring. So, again, the results actually match what I'm saying about the game. I'm not wrong. You're just too lenient on indie games, and you need to stop. Because what will happen is, now everyone apparently needs to be so nice to indie games that we just gotta say they're all good? No, absolutely not. In fact, it should be the polar opposite here. Because now there's so many indie games that are clamoring for your attention and dollar, because now AAA games are floundering and failing. Now indies are getting their shot. You need the voice of reason to cut through all of this crap to tell you what's good and what's not. You don't need everyone telling you every indie game is great. I mean, sure, I could have kissed Crizzle's butt. I should have said, oh, look, the graphics are quite good for a cheap game, right? Can you imagine that this game looks so good on such a small budget and it's an indie game? Yeah. I could have just sat here and just said that, or said, ooh, the creepy atmosphere. Yeah, those are the two good things about Crizzle, is the graphics and the atmosphere. But the gameplay is boring. So I'm not going to lie about that to you. I'm sure a lot of people do. They just sit there and they act like they're almost like promoters of this indie, style of game because this is what's the hot thing to do right now. Well, no. If you want me to cover more games and you want me to cover indie games, you have to expect the same level of transparency and the same level of criticism that I give any other game that I used to play. And just because it's popular to say AAA games suck right now, doesn't mean that I'm going to say every indie game is amazing too. Okay? So there you have it. That's what I have to say about my coverage of Crizzle. You can enjoy the 10-minute video if you just want to see my summarized thoughts. You can watch the raw gameplay if you so choose. It seems like no one is so choosing that, okay? Because basically everyone agreed who watched it, it was fucking boring, so no one's even bothering watching the gameplay. Just saying, okay? Okay, now, let's do some shout-outs for contributions, and then I want to get to the second half of this discussion, which is the fact that I conducted an interesting experiment during yesterday's stream. And in reality, I've actually been doing a little bit of experimentation recently, and I want to let you know exactly what it's been, okay? But let's do some shout-outs first off, because there was a couple of contributions here. We have our first tip of the day, a $10 tip from someone who says, this is exactly why I actually support you, because you keep it real. Because you keep it real no matter what you're doing. Exactly. I'm never going to be the guy that's a butt kisser for any reason whatsoever. I have absolutely no reason to ever kiss butt because I don't actually benefit from doing it. On the flip side, I also don't benefit from just being a toxic jerk to everything either. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get why people are actually upset with me for being honest. And again, I think what you also have to understand is whenever I put out a video, it's my opinion, right? It literally says that Crizzle is a bait and switch based on my 3.5 hours of playing, and that's what the video is titled, right? So why people would be upset, I don't know, but it is what it is. I'm not going to change, okay? Cool. So thank you for $10. I appreciate that. First super chat of the day is 2L84Prey, who did a CZK50 super chat. Okay, hold on. There's a lot of work here. CZK to USD, and it's what, 50? So it's $2.45. Okay. Thank you for the first super chat of the day. And they said, this is out of context, but will you show a tour of your house in the future? Much appreciated. No, I will not. Maybe in the future, I would choose to reveal certain parts of my home that I feel are safe to show to the public. Perhaps when I set up my workout room, which I am planning on hopefully doing sometime this year, I could show you my machine that I'm using to do, exercises and stuff like that. Perhaps, maybe not. I'm not promising anything. That's why I don't mention it. Because I've learned that separating my work from my personal life has dramatically increased my safety and my enjoyment of life. Because if I share everything, then people use that to hurt me. And I know that I've gone into detail a million times about this, so I'm not going to go into detail about it on today's show. But basically, what's in this room stays in this room and gets broadcast to the internet. What's outside of this room is my personal business to be shared with my wife, my cat, and my immediate family. Like my parents know everything that goes on in my house, but that's about it. No one else needs to know anything that's in this house. You don't need to know about the giant mountain of cocaine that I have in my spare bedroom. Okay, that's none of your business. Okay. But will I ever show parts of it? Perhaps, if I decide to. I now have the means, I can use my camera, I can use my microphone, I can use my selfie stick, and I can film around the house to show you stuff if I wanted to. So maybe I will eventually, but as of now, the answer is no. Princess Luna, thank you for a $5 super chat, which is our biggest one of the day. First of all, let's get that on the leaderboard. Let's see what Princess Luna has to say. Okay? Okay. Okay, so Princess Luna says, indie games are like food trucks. There's now so many, only the good ones survive, in my opinion. That's what's happening now, because it didn't used to be like that. Now, there are literally so many games coming out in a given week, right? Just this week. I'm looking for a new game for the rotation. It's like, okay, so Crystal came out, but so did Mugenics. But so did Romeo Must Die. But so did, there's another one, too, that just dropped. And now, supposedly, Marathon might have a demo, but then you got this going. I was like, wait, what? There's like 7 options. Like, how do I choose what I'm supposed to be doing on my streams where there's so much going on? When you have so much selection, you need someone to cut through all of that to tell you what they think and if it's your cup of tea or not. You don't need someone to say, oh, Crizzle is an indie darling. It's amazing that on an under $20 price tag, they have these graphics. Who cares about the fucking graphics if the game is boring? Right? Who cares? So that's the point I'm making. I'm glad that you're seeing my point, Princess Luna, that we need to be honest about this crap, or else what we're going to end up with is we're going to have a completely anti-AAA mentality and a completely every single indie is great mentality, and you'll never know what's good. It's going to be just as bad as when it was just AAA, where everyone says everything's good, everything kisses everyone's butt, and now you can't determine what game to spend your money and time on. You don't need that. You need honesty, and that's what I'm going to strive to do this year right here on this channel. Cover more games and be honest about each game and let you know what I think. There might be games that I absolutely love that you actually hate. There might be games that I actually hate that you love, and that's okay. You know who I am. You know my feelings. You know how I have these certain, affinities for certain kinds of things in video games. I think a lot of people know my likes and dislikes at this point. So, honesty is the best policy, okay? Thank you for the support. All right. Oh, I was just going to go to the next point, and typical average gamer did a $2 super chat and says, did you see anything about Crimson Desert? Oh, yeah, we reacted to the trailer of it a few weeks ago. The game, to me, looks amazing, but also kind of looks too good to be true. And what I mean by that is there's so much in that game that looks great, you have to wonder if it's all true, if it's all fully fleshed out, or, and this is more likely the case, if a lot of it that looks great on paper actually doesn't factor into the gameplay at all. Meaning, there could have the best crafting system ever made. It could have an amazing flight system where you fly around the map on mounts, and then none of that has to do with the actual game. It's in there, but you don't have to use it to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, you could just play through the game and beat it without any of that crap. Like, it could be the next Starfield, where on paper, Starfield might look good. Oh, you could craft your own ship. Oh, you could have colonies on planets and mine resources, and you never have to do any of that in the game. It's just there to say that there's content, and the content doesn't mean anything, right? So I guess we'll see when the game comes out next month. I'm excited to try it for sure. It may be a super immersive game with tons to do, and it might be one of the best games in a long time. Or it might stink. We'll find out firsthand together, okay? Okay. So now let's get to the other thing that I want to talk about yesterday's first stream. All right. So yesterday I played Crizzle Theater of Idols. This was a game that it was going to be a kind of, ooh, let's test the waters. Let's see if the game's any good. It was essentially, yes, a first part of a playthrough if I decided to start playing the game fully, but also it was kind of a first look stream, if that makes sense, where a lot of content creators do this. They essentially test the waters of a game and they call it first look, rather than playthrough or I'm actually playing this game. That way, if they decide against continuing, no one says, oh, well, you're playing it, now you're dropping it. Well, no, I never was playing it. It was just a first look. Okay? So, in regards to that, all right, yesterday, when I was playing Crizzle, I conducted myself a little differently than I normally would. Does anyone actually know up front what it was? I'm just curious if any of you actually figured out what the difference was between the Crizzle stream and a normal stream. Let's see if anyone in chat can get it. I'm very curious. I'm going to give it a minute because remember, the chat's delayed. I'm just curious. Someone got it already. Kimikaze actually just hit it on the head. She said, there was no asking for money. You're right. If you go back and you watch the entirety of the time that I was streaming Crizzle on this stream, which was 3.5 hours, okay? You're going to notice that not one time, not once, did I actually ask for a financial contribution whatsoever. Now, I did ask for engagement. I said, hey, the first part of the playthrough is the most important one. If you're on stream, please like the stream to get more engagement for the channel. If you're watching this on demand, please like the video and leave comments. What are you thinking about the game? Do you like it? Do you not? That will help this channel tremendously. I definitely said that, but not a single time did I actually say, hey, open your wallets. Send me some super chats. Send me some kicks. Send me some tips. Send me some members. Send me some subs. I never said that whatsoever. I never even mentioned the ways that you can contribute. I just acted like you couldn't. Okay? Now, the thing is, I've done this before. All right? I have. I've done this before. And the last time that I did it, people gave me shit for it because they said, well, it wasn't fair. Why? Well, basically, I think it was like the day before, I'd done a marathon. And I guess during the said marathon, I had actually done pretty good. It was like a marathon where a lot of people had supported or whatever. Okay? And so they said, you know, that's not a fair experiment to see what would happen because a lot of people had given a lot of support the day before. Therefore, the day after a very successful marathon where everyone basically unloaded with support, you're going to have less support. Now, the first time that I tried this last year, you want to know how much money I made? Because I told Asmongold in our actual interview back in November, I made $30. The entire stream where I didn't ask for anything, I made $30 for over 5 hours of streaming. Okay? Not even $10 an hour, right? But everyone says that wasn't valid. Fair enough. Let's try it again, but let me try it on a day when absolutely no one will be expecting it whatsoever, and on a day where it's going to be an interesting strategy because of the game that I was playing. Yesterday when I played Crizzle, this was the very first time ever that I had played this game. And very much we were testing the waters to see if people liked the game and if this was going to be a playthrough that I was going to do in the future. Now, let's be honest. There is a pattern when it comes to the levels of support that I receive on a stream. And the pattern is usually, if you really like the game I'm playing, and if I really like the game I'm playing, I'm having a great time, that comes through on the stream, and you support it. That's not always the case. For example, Street Fighter 6 right now is getting massive support, and I basically destroy the game every time I play it, saying how bad it sucks, right? The thing is, there's entertainment value there in seeing me rage and try to persevere against a game that I really don't like that much, right? But for the most part, take a look at games right now such as Hollow Knight, which I absolutely am loving and liking more the more I play it, and RimWorld, which at first I was really having a hard time with, but now that I've learned this stuff, okay, and I know the basic mechanics, and I'm still learning, and I have this great interactive time with you guys every time, tons of engagement as people try to help me with the game, I really enjoy myself. Even though it's stressful as hell, it's still good. It's entertaining. It's fun. People like it. They support it, right? So, knowing far well that I was playing a game where I didn't know if I was going to like it. I didn't know if you were going to like it. I thought in my head, man, here's the thing. I could ask for support on this stream. And to be honest with you guys, I know for a fact, 100% proven fact, if I had asked for support on yesterday's Crizzle stream, I would have received more. I may not have gotten a ton, all right? But I absolutely guarantee you, without a shadow of a doubt, if I had said, come on, let's get some support. I'm covering more indies this year. I'm showing you what's good and what's not. If you like this new effort, you like the fact that I'm playing more games, support this channel. If you like all the changes and improvements I've made, you like the content, support the channel. And people would have supported. I would have got memberships. I would have got some subs. I would have got some tips. I would have. It probably wouldn't have been an overwhelming amount. No one's going to quote, oh, I don't really like the game Phil's playing, but I'm still going to overwhelmingly open my wallet and support the stream. That wouldn't have happened. Okay? But I would have got more. 100%, right? There you go. Now, what did this result in? What was the result of the experiment? And how did I feel it went? And how should I conduct myself moving forward? Let's talk about that. So the result of the experiment was as follows. By the end of the stream, again, me not asking for support, I got about $80 of support. I want to say it was like $82 or something like that. Okay? Is that the worst stream I've ever had? No. In fact, to be honest, I had a worse stream on Sunday night when I did the double indie stream of Sharks and Minnows and Terminator 2D No Fate. The reason for that is very simple. I'd already played those games multiple times. In the case of Terminator 2, we were already beat it multiple times. We were just trying to see the final ending, which actually wasn't even worth the time, actually. You know, and so you're going to get some initial interest in a game like that, but you're not going to get an audience coming back a million times and throwing money at it. You know what I'm saying? So it actually wasn't even the worst stream that I had done recently, okay? But it certainly wasn't great. No one was showering me with support because I didn't ask for it, all right? There is an absolutely, positively, direct correlation between how much I ask for support and how much I get. 100%, there is undisputed evidence that if I ask for support, I will get more. And if I don't ask for support, I will get less, all right? So then why didn't I ask for support yesterday? Didn't I want more? Yes, I did. Of course I did. Of course I did. Come on. Let's be honest here. We all want more support. We all could use more support, right? So why didn't I ask for it? Well, there's two reasons, okay? One reason is because if I was going to play Crizzle and I was actually going to try to gauge audience interest in the game fairly, all right? The very first stream is the stream where you need to see if people are liking what they're seeing. And if you're saying, hey, support the stream, and people shower you with support, that could artificially inflate the level of positivity that the game actually deserves. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, let's say I was halfway through the stream and I was like, oh, guys, come on, we're only at like $60 to support. Let's go. Let's get some subs. And then someone feeling, go, I'll help Phil. They drop 10 subs, right? And so I'll help Phil and I drop a $50 tip. Now, all of a sudden, I got like $200, right? It's like, oh, well, you see, Crizzle did well. Well, no, in reality, Crizzle's the same game. It's not that good. It's still boring. But people might have showered me with support because I asked for it. So if you do that on the first stream of any game, you're basically artificially inflating its popularity. Does that make sense? I think it does. If the premier stream of any game that I play, whether it's an indie game, whether it's a AAA game, you know what I'm saying? I feel like if I had done that yesterday, I wouldn't have been doing the right thing. And therefore, it would have not made sense because now, let's say the Crizzle stream made $200, right? So now I might be like, oh, I should do it again. But no one likes the game, including me, right? And to be honest, what will end up happening, okay, is very simple. We're going to end up with another truck sim. We're going to end up with another situation where people are showering me with support and we keep playing the game, even though, quite frankly, the game is kind of boring and not that interesting. Okay, and not to say that I didn't like Truck Sim at first, because I did, but after a couple months of Truck Sim, it got played out. But we played it all year because I kept getting showered with support every stream, right? So the truth is, it's hard to judge how to handle this stuff. It really is. Do I ask for support every stream because then I'll do better as a business and, I'll be able to support my family better and improve the setup better and buy more games? Or do whenever I play a game for the very first time, do I actually make this just judgment that I should not ask for support? That way, if people do support the game, it's genuine because they like it. Or I just, you know what I'm saying? Or they don't support it because they don't like it and they genuinely don't want it to continue, right? Now, admittedly, this is kind of a double-edged sword for me because although it'll be better to try more games to find the hidden gems that we're all going to love and will end up being ongoing playthroughs that get lots of support, the more games that I take chances on means another chance that a game is going to suck and now no one will support it. You see what I'm saying? If I play 5 games this week and out of those, 4 games we know everyone loves and will support and 1 is a wild card, versus this week I play 10 games, 6 games are wild cards and all of them suck, that might be 6 dead streams. So do you see the situation I'm in right now, where there's no real way to determine exactly how to go forward because it's new ground for me, right? I don't know is it right whenever I play a brand new game, should I just not even mention support and let people genuinely and organically support that stream? I don't know. Right? I'm very curious about what to do about this, right? The funny part about yesterday, undoubtedly, is my detractors were fucking losing their shit. They couldn't stand the fact that I hadn't hit the phantom goal that doesn't exist and I wasn't asking for support. They were tearing at their clothes. There was fucking 10, 20, 30 sock accounts all typing in chat. You're not hitting the goal. Why aren't you asking for support? They couldn't take it. They lost their fucking minds. Because their little pea walnut-sized fucking brains can't comprehend that I'm smarter than them. And that I have the intelligence to try to conduct experiments and do things like this to try to figure out how to handle stuff moving forward. And it's not all about money. It's not. Okay? In fact, to be honest, it's better off, way better off, that we figure out the right thing to do than just have me sitting here begging for money every stream. Because long-term success is more important than temporary short-term success. Even though I might have a bunch of great streams this week, if I don't know what to do long-term, next week might suck. I might be out of ideas, might be out of games to play. So let's actually work on this together and figure it out, right? So, let's do some shout-outs right now. And then let us talk about what we should do moving forward, genuinely. Because this is an... Oh, by the way, the other thing is what happened last night on the late stream, and we'll talk about that in a second too. Let's do shout-outs though, because there's a bunch that came in. We have SimCard EIRE, who did a €1 super chat. Thank you to SimCard for the super chat. I appreciate that. we have 220, who gifted our first sub of the day over on Kick. Thank you to 220 for the gifted sub. We have Clout Siffler, who for 3 months as a member says, can we run a poll to get a yes or no to continue Crizzle? No, I'm not continuing Crizzle. I'm super bored of the game. The audience was super bored of the game, right? The support was representative of that level of boredom. The videos aren't getting any views on them. I told you, parts 2 and 3 don't even have like 200, 300 views. No one cares about this game. It's dead. So, no, I'm not playing Crizzle again. That's actually why, if you noticed at the end of the stream, what I ended up doing was trying to finish that safe puzzle. Because, again, I wanted to have, like, the final end of my gameplay of it was, hey, let's do this puzzle. Let's finish it. I'm not wasting time on a game like that. I'm just not. My time is my most valuable asset. It's not money. It's time. Time is the most valuable thing to me right now. I need to be doing smart and wise things with my time and not wasting it on games that just ain't it. And sorry, Crizzle, just, it's not it. Okay? There you go. All right, so thanks for supporting for so long, Clout. I appreciate that. 220 also did a 500 kick and said, huge Phil W. Keep those detractors guessing. They don't even realize they're puppets in a grand experiment. They always are. That's what I mean. Like, now at this point, I have been in this game for so long, I know exactly how to manipulate these people. And I do it every day. They just don't know it because they're too ignorant. Every single day, they're doing exactly what I expect of them and what I want them to do. So thank you for the super chat. I do think there may be a tip. I'm not sure. Let's see. Someone did a $2 tip and says, the audience isn't a fan of being subject to experiments. If you want something, ask for it. No, that's because you're a troll. I know who you are. I recognize your email address. The trolls don't like being manipulated. They hate it. They were so furious yesterday when I didn't ask for support, and they're outright expecting it. They're like, wait, where's the clip farm? Why is there no clip farm? So instead of there being a clip farm, they had to title their videos, his utter failure Crizzle stream crashes when Phil only makes $80, instead of saying Phil crashed out asking for money. They couldn't do that video anymore because it didn't happen. You see? Thanks for the $2, but I know who you are. I'm not stupid. Okay. And there you go. Chimchar also throwing me money for a comment that I'm never going to read. Thanks, Chimchar, for $2. Okay. So, here's the other half of the equation of this experiment that I did yesterday. I well knew that doing Crizzle as the first stream and that it may not work. All right. I knew that if I paired it with something that was a fan favorite and a troll favorite, that likely the late stream would be a hit. And that's exactly what I did. I played Street Fighter 6 with Dalzim last night, and we had high attendance, high engagement, and really good support. In fact, the stream did so well, it made up for the fact that the Crizzle stream hadn't done that well, and I hadn't asked for support during it. So you see, this is very similar to what I was saying about Dragon Quest the other day. Dragon Quest just doesn't do that well when it comes to support. Even though I think it's an outstanding game, it's hard for me to find a large audience that agrees. There is a small audience that agrees, but it's not huge, right? If I can play Dragon Quest, but pair it with other streams that do well, like RimWorld, for example, then it doesn't matter that Dragon Quest doesn't do well. You see, because the RimWorld stream overperforms, so it makes it so that the slower supported Dragon Quest stream can continue. And I even explained earlier this week, if we can have staple streams that are doing well all the time, then I can choose to maybe have a game like Dragon Quest be in the rotation, not perform well, but still continue. The key here is I can't do it with a million games. It can't be, for example, I'm playing Dragon Quest and then Crizzle and then another indie game and then another indie game, and all of them are horrible streams. I can't just keep having 4 or 5 streams a week that don't do well, right? I can do maybe one game like that, as long as everything else is going well. You got to balance it, right? That's the tightrope I'm kind of walking right now, and I'm trying to figure out. This year, man, has this year been different than previous years, where I'm really experimenting and trying things, and I'm trying to be transparent with you about it so you understand where I am, where I'm coming from. I'm trying to do what's best for everyone. I want variety. I want us to find the hidden gems that we don't usually play, but at the same time, I want the business to still be doing well. I can't just sacrifice everything to try to find a few indie games. Do you see? So let's see how it goes. But here's the thing. Last night, abso-freaking-lutely on that Street Fighter stream, I hammed it up. I was asking and asking and asking some more, and then when I was done asking, I asked again. And I made over $200 on the Street Fighter stream last night, which then adjusted and made up for the fact that the Crizzle stream didn't do good. And we were fine. And today, I slept easy. I woke up today refreshed saying the experiment actually worked. Now we know Crizzle just didn't work as a playthrough. People aren't going to like it. And Street Fighter is still working well. We'll keep going with that, you know. But here's the question, quite frankly, right? Do we do this every single time now when I play a new game? Do we actually let the game speak for itself? Let people support if they like that game and the gameplay and playthrough I'm creating of it. And if it ends up being a game where I play it and it doesn't do well, that's basically speaking volumes that people don't like the game. Is that what we should do? Because is it fair, for example, again, with Crizzle, what if I had asked for support and made $200? Do I play it again? Because the game is still boring. The game didn't get any better because it was supported. The game was still boring, right? Like, take a look at a game like Quarantine Zone. The first stream was actually really good. The second stream was decent, and the third stream was boring as hell. Some games are going to be like that. So you naturally figure that out over time, right? Not every game is going to be a giant playthrough that's going to succeed. That's okay. Maybe it's just good for a few hours, and that's another thing that we need to understand and explore this coming year. So how do you judge it? Dabhand says it's tough because with Dragon Quest VII, it just doesn't get great support on the first part, even asking for it. Half of it is just from one person. Then do we drop it? I don't want to drop a great game so easily. You're right. And in the case of Dragon Quest VII, that one is one of my favorite genres of games. Okay? Some genres I'm going to want to try to bite the bullet and play anyway, just because they mean a lot to me. Even if they're not going to get giant support. Nothing here just said, my humble opinion as a fan, the slight increase in support when you ask for it versus the slight decrease in support when you don't ask, but then people can't clip you asking for money is worth taking that hit. Now, here's the thing, though, nothing here. Last night when I played Street Fighter, I hammed it up. I made a ton of money, so that made up for the Crizzle stream, but then guess who clip farmed? Oh, Phil went extra hard on the Street Fighter stream because his Crizzle stream failed, and so look, he's really asking, he's going crazy, he's out of control, right? So I honestly don't know what to do. It's tough, right? This is new ground. Like, for example, all right, right now I don't know what I'm going to play on Friday. At all, because it was going to be Crizzle. I'll tell you right now, I'm not playing Crizzle again on Fridays. It's boring, okay? If the Marathon demo releases after the State of Play on Thursday, then I'll probably try the Marathon demo. But if the Marathon demo doesn't drop as rumored, then we have an open spot. Let's say I decide to try a couple indie games, right? Now, do I say, hey, support indies? Or do I just let them ride and see what happens? What if both games suck? Now I have a dead stream. It's not my fault. I tried something new, right? You know? I don't know. What do you do? Now, Friday night, we're doing Street Fighter 6 Friday Night Fights, and Street Fighter 6 usually does well. So do I ham it up on Friday night to make up? You see? Yeah, I don't know. Deadlock? Deadlock's a possibility of a game that I could try again. I liked Deadlock during the marathon, and I do want to try it again eventually. The thing is, Deadlock also isn't going anywhere. It's a game in development, and it's not going to be out anytime soon. So maybe we take our time with that. We fill it into the schedule when there's holes to fill. There you go. Well, Broden is saying many people are saying getting rid of the scrolling banner. Many people donate because they won't be blasted. May people donate because they won't be blasted all over the stream and video and VODs. No, the truth is, this is not the problem. The problem is the stalking detractors. Because when you donate, let's say you do a super chat, that's going to be in the chat. They're going to see it. This isn't the problem, right? When you tip, you can literally make your name anything. You could tip right now and say, Pee Wee Herman has tipped me $5, right? That protects your identity. So that's not a problem. I'm telling you, this is not a problem at all. And if anything, a lot of people do like the fact that they get the credibility that they do by contributing and being on that thing. That's why it's always worked. That's why so many people use that, all right? The problem is the harassing, doxing, crazy, maniacal idiots on the internet who actually try to hurt people who donate to a streamer because they're mentally challenged. You know, they're sociopathic losers. Nothing here said. There's pros and cons to asking, and at the end of the day, it's just going to be your call. It's your channel, and there's really no right or wrong answer. You're right. There is no right or wrong answer, because no matter what I do, my detractors say I did the wrong thing, so I don't care what they say. What I care about is those of you who actually do care about me and my content. Those of you who enjoy the stuff, who want me to find the better games this year, right? This is a cool year where we're going to be trying a ton of stuff, right? We are. I want to find the good stuff, and I want to know if it's genuinely good, or if you're just kind of being nice to me because you support me, and then I don't want to play that game again anyway, right? It's a tough one. It's a tough one, honestly. We'll have to try to figure this out together. But I, personally, if you were to ask me how did yesterday go, I think it went as well as it possibly could have been. Because if I had asked for support during Crizzle and got a ton, now I have a skewed perspective of how good the game is. Did people support because they like the game, or did people support because they just like me and they want me to succeed, right? Maybe if more people would have supported and said, I don't like the game, but I want you to succeed, count this toward you and not the game, then I would have understood that, right? But most people would never do that. They'll support a game they like, and they'll stay away from a game they don't. And that's actually what happened, is a lot of people tuned in early for Crizzle, watched the first couple hours, were like, oh, this ain't it, it's boring, and then they just left. They didn't support, they just, I'm out of here, I'll come back later for Street Fighter. You see? So I got a $2 tip. This person says, I think the evidence shows the contrary when it comes to asking for support, giving you more money. Dragon Quest, Terminator, I didn't even meant to say Terminator, Sharks and Minnows, Dredge, Hellmark debut stream, even Quarantine debut stream, all games where you asked for support got less than Crizzle. But, you're right, but I would like you to take a look at all the games you just mentioned. Every single one of those games you just mentioned, except one, is an indie game. Dragon Quest is not an indie game, and it's an RPG. It stands alone because I just can't get a lot of attention and support for RPGs. That's a staple around here, right? That's a thing you expect. Every other game you just mentioned is an indie game. Every one, right? And this is new content for me. This is not the kind... Literally, old Phil never would have played Quarantine, Hellmart, Dredge, Sharks and Minnows, or Terminator 2D. And those are all 5 freaking games I've already played in 2026 that I never would have played in the past. This is going to be a situation where we need to build an audience for indies. We need to get people now in the mindset that Phil plays indies, and he's going to check these out per the recommendations of his audience. We need people to know this now, right? But I don't think what you're saying is necessarily representative of the overall truth, because the streams that do well when I ask for support are RimWorld, Street Fighter 6, Hollow Knight, and more. It's not really the game. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, those are all indies, and therefore the indies, it's going to be harder regardless because people aren't used to me playing indies. A lot of people still have this weird negative association with indies, feeling like they're not worth anyone's time. They're just rinky-dink small games. I'll come back when Phil plays Resident Evil 9 this month. That's what some people are legit saying right now. Phil's just doing all indie shit right now. There's nothing going on in games. I'll be back for Resident Evil Requiem because that's a staple that Phil always plays Resident Evil and his playthroughs are always great, and I'll be back for that. You see? So no, I don't believe that every time that I ask for support, it doesn't work. That's just not the case. But there are situations where there's going to be a pattern and it just really won't have much of an impact. And it seems like indie games, in some cases, that's been the case. Like, people just aren't going to support the indie game because they don't feel like it's big enough or in a big enough of an event or whatever, right? Someone tipped another $2.50, says, I think Street Fighter is always going to do well as a stream and it's not a good testing ground. Completely false. That's absolutely false. Street Fighter 6 was doing terribly at one point, and I kept playing it because I wanted to have a fighting game in the rotation. And that's one of the other reasons why I dropped it last year. Not only that I was completely burned out on the game and not enjoying it, but the support was gone. Like, people were just not caring about that game anymore. Right now, Street Fighter has been a staple win over the last month. That doesn't mean that it's going to continue forever. You know, right now, I'm just playing through all of my characters. You know, Friday I'll probably use Blanca. And then after that, maybe I'll go back with another rotation through. Eventually, I'll probably go back to Sagat, try to get in the Master. But after that, it's going to start to get more stale. And then we're going to be back to square one. So it's not always Street Fighter. You have to understand that. I think you need to do multiple streams of not asking, then compare with multiple streams of the same where you ask. In the end, I think it's all confirmation bias in the end. It is. And the truth is, the other thing I got to be careful of is doing too many experiments because I still need to have a successful business. You understand that, right? Like, I can't say, oh, well, I'm just going to half the streams this week. I'm going to do experiments and they all fail. Well, then I've just shot myself in the foot. I know with the formula that works because I've used it. I should stick with what's working while also trying to balance it with things that may not work. Does that make sense? Like, I need to do a proper balance. So it's a tough situation I'm in right now because this is all new ground for me. A 17-year creator facing new ground because things are so different. But the thing is, this is all a positive. I want everyone to understand this as strong as I can make it a point. This is all a positive change. This is stuff improving. This is not stagnation. This is not boredom. This is us trying new stuff because things have been going so well. And I'm grateful for that because I'd much rather be in a situation where we're excited for the future. We're trying new games. We're trying new methods when we play the new games to see what works and what doesn't, as opposed to us saying, well, we're just stuck in a rut and we got to do the same thing every day because it's the only thing that would possibly ever work, even though it doesn't always work and I'm miserable. It's the opposite. I'm actually excited and invigorated to come to stream every day and hang out with you guys and have a good time. It's a great feeling that we're doing all this new stuff together. We're breaking new ground, as they say, right? Okay. Here we go. I just received an $8 anonymous tip. Let me play an animation for that, and then I'll tell you what they said. This is interesting, actually. This is $8 anonymous tip, and they said... Yes, I would love to support you publicly, but yeah, it's just too hostile. Thank you for having an anonymous way to tip you and support. Exactly. If ever any of you, all right, like the content and you want to support it and you want no chance of basically being attacked by people on the internet, tipping is absolutely the way to go. When you tip me, the only thing I will ever see is your email address. That's it. I don't know your name. I don't know any information about where you're even watching me. You could be on Kick. You could be on YouTube. I don't know where you're even watching from. And when you tip me, all you got to do is say the name you want to be referenced by, or you can say, just leave me anonymous and put the message in the body of the tip. That's it. You're protected. Now, this is exactly why the trolls hate this. And that's why they constantly lie about PayPal and say shit like, oh, when you tip Phil, you dox yourself. No, you don't. But they want you to think that so you won't tip that way and you'll try to support another way so they can get your information. That's literally why they lie about it all the fucking time. They're upset that people can actually support. This is also why they claim every tip I receive is fake. Every single tip Phil's ever gotten was a fake. He doesn't make that money. He's a liar. He's a poor. He's broke. No, the tips have legit always been real and they can't handle that fact. They're upset that people like the content, support it positively, and can't be attacked for it if they tip. So then they lie about it and they try to cope. So there you go. Robert did a $2 super chat asking, will I play the new Yakuza? There is no new Yakuza. There is no new Yakuza. What you're referencing is Yakuza Kiwami 3. It's a remake of Yakuza 3. Now, to be fair, I've never played Yakuza 3. But at the same time, right now, I'm already in the midst of a Dragon Quest 7 playthrough that is struggling to get attention and support. I can't do another game like that that's going to be insanely lengthy, drawn out, Japanese-style culture central. But we've done Yakuza games before. I like them. In fact, I love them. I think that they're some of the staple best games out there. They always have tons of content, usually a good gameplay loop that's addictive and fun. But sadly, over the years, the audience that I have for Yakuza has dwindled dramatically. I used to get a lot of people who liked Yakuza. But here's what happened. It went mainstream. Right? When I was playing Yakuza back in the day, Yakuza 4, 5, 6, the games were much smaller scale. Not many people knew about the franchise in Western-speaking, English-speaking audiences. I was actually one of the few people on YouTube covering Yakuza, and I was doing it in English. Most people playing Yakuza were doing it in Japanese. So people used to come and watch my playthroughs in droves on the back end. I used to get tens of thousands of views on my parts of Yakuza. Seriously. Now, No one watches my Yakuza. Everyone said, oh, everyone else already played it. Everyone else does better than you, Phil. So the audience kind of went elsewhere, and there's not much I could really do about that. Again, Yakuza is kind of like a guilty pleasure that I have, kind of like Dragon Quest, where I know I like it, I would like to play it, but I know that I can't do it if I have other things going on that are going to underperform, and I already know for a fact that Dragon Quest VII is going to underperform, so I can't play Yakuza right now. There's just no way I could do two at once. You see? Okay. All right. I think we got through all shout-outs now. So, moving forward, right? The question is very simple. Do I continue to conduct streams that are first look style streams the way that I did the Crystal stream? The way I did the Crystal stream yesterday. Do I not ask for support so that we can let the game speak for itself? We don't get a skewed perspective of what that game is if someone comes in and supports because I asked for it rather than because they were enjoying the stream. Do you see what I'm saying? How do I handle it? Because the thing is, it is a challenge. What if in 1 week I end up trying 3 or 4 new games and all of them fail because they're not very good, and now I have 4 dead streams? You know? If I can balance those streams with tried and true guaranteed winners, like Street Fighter, Hollow Knight, RimWorld, coming up, big AAA releases like Resident Evil Requiem that likely will do really well, then I could probably do that. But I don't know if I can. And on the same time, which is what Klaus Siffler just says, if it means that you got to ask for more contributions on the other stream that day, then don't do it because that becomes too exhausting. So, you know, I don't know. Dabian says, I don't think it matters. You pulled the curtain back and everyone knows the rules of the game now. Oh, there you go. I should do the opposite. I should just ask for way more on these streams. There we go. So this Friday, whatever I'm going to be playing, I'm not even going to start the game until I receive a $20 contribution. I won't even boot it. It's $20 to boot. All right? And then, you want me to press start? That's got to be another $5, man. There you go. Look, now we're talking. Now, we're really cooking with gas, right? We're figuring this stuff out, right? Bookwell says, what about asking for support once at the start and once at the end of the stream and not 37 times between? To be honest, Buckwell, here's the truth. If I get great amounts of support before we even start with the game, I don't ask for support during the game. Have you noticed that? Maybe not, but for example, that whole month after the Asmongold interview, I wasn't asking for support. Very rarely. Maybe once a stream, I would mention how you could support, and I would just be shouting out the support. I wouldn't even mention it because I didn't have to. I keep explaining this to people as matter-of-factly as I can, and I swear people just want to believe the toxic shit on the internet rather than using their brains. I don't want to ask for support. Ever. Ever. I don't even want to think about it. I just want to sit here and hang out with you guys and enjoy games and have fun on streams, period. That's all I ever want to do. But as I've just explained, when I ask for support, I get more. When I don't ask for support, I get less. It's a tried and true fact of my streams. Maybe that's not the case for others, because others are very different from me, but I am Darkside Phil. I am Phil Burnell. I am a one only entity on this planet. There is no one else out there that is like me. My situation is completely unique, and from my perspective and my experience, when I ask, I get. When I don't ask, I don't. I don't care when people criticize me for it, because what matters is that this is successful so I can keep doing what I love, I can support my family, and I can put out meaningful and positive content for my viewers. That's what matters, not public opinion saying, Robble, he asks for money too much. I don't give two fucks about what those people say, because they're dollarless losers who sit on the internet criticizing others when they should be doing for themselves. Do you see? Who gives a fuck about them? I want my streams to be successful. I want to be able to do what I love for the longest time I can. All right? So I got to find that balance. Now, if I'm getting tons of support, I never have to ask for it. And that's what was happening. Then it dwindled. So guess what? I had to ask for support again. Right? Now, I've tried to limit it, I've tried to balance it, and I've tried to find things going on that will work and won't work. I don't want to annoy the audience. And you're right. If I'm asking for support 37 times a stream, that's going to piss people off. At the same time, if I don't ask for support, I get none or little, and then everyone doesn't matter anyway because they still talk shit about me. So it's about finding the happy medium, which you're suggesting do it at the beginning, do it at the end. Maybe that could work. Maybe not. Not everyone is there at the very beginning or very end of the stream. Right now, I have 262 viewers on my stream. I only had less than 100 when I started the podcast. More than half of my viewers weren't here to hear me do the call to action at the beginning of the stream, which, by the way, I didn't. I didn't do a call to action at the beginning of the stream. I haven't even called to action once this stream yet, and I've been broadcasting for 1 hour and 29 minutes. So, yeah, maybe there is a way to conduct it. I don't know what. I don't want to sit here with a clock timing the stream and be like, oh, let me hit the clock on certain times when I have to do my call to action today. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to figure this out. We are. Together, we will figure it out, and things are going to be great this year. They are. They are already. They're just going to get better. It's just a matter of finding the right way to do all of this stuff so that it's not too much of a heavy ask, but it's not asking at all, because that also will shoot me in the foot. Like, what is the balance? And we will find it. Okay? Yes, He says, it's your stream. It's my stream, but it's our time. Did I not explain earlier on this very show? The most valuable asset to anyone on planet Earth is time. It's not money, it's time. Time is what you have the most limited of right now. Even if you self-aware or not, time is your most valuable asset that you can ever have in your existence on this planet. So the time is valuable. I want to make sure that I'm using your time wisely when you're on my streams. It's not me, it's us. Or else I'm talking to myself. And I like to think that I'm not just talking to myself. So here we go. I just received a $3 tip, and here's what someone just said. Sometimes I'm enjoying a stream and you'll mention support, and then it actually reminds me to send some. I think little reminders are good. Don't say if you like the game's support, but say if you were here and chilling, feel free to support, if that makes sense. Sometimes we hate the game, but we actually like you. Okay. That's maybe a different way to phrase it, a different mentality. So say, hey, if you like the stream, if you like me and my content, support, not if you like this game, support it. All right. All right, someone just tipped another $2. It says, I like to support you because I feel like you deserve it. When you do a gameplay stream and start complaining about parts about support, it can get annoying to the viewers. I hope that these tips are helping you. Good luck. You'll find that right balance. Thank you. It is helping me. Absolutely, it's helping. Thank you. Someone tipped $1. Now this, again, I cannot confirm nor deny what they're saying. I'm literally reading word for word what they sent in a $1 tip. They said, Lolcow Live asks for money way more than you do on a typical show. They repeatedly scam their audience. The truth is, you're not a bad guy. You're not doing anything wrong by asking for contributions. There you go. Here's an honest question, okay? Honest question. If I'm such a bad guy because I constantly ask for contributions, right? But there's people who do it worse than me, more than me, why am I the one that's always in everyone's mouth? Why am I the one that I end up on the Reddit live stream fails and I end up getting talked about on some big streamer stream? Why is it always Darkside Phil? Why isn't it Lolcow Live? Why isn't it another person who does it more or worse than me, right? It's a good question. It's interesting, isn't it? Okay. All right. So there's one other thing that I want to do on this podcast today, and that's I want to react to the Directive 8020 trailer that actually released yesterday, because this is a more in-depth look at the game that will now be coming out in May 12th. This originally was supposed to come out in October. This is the next game from Supermassive Games. And it got delayed, which sucks because if it came out in October, a horror game in October, I mean, you're going to get an installed base of players and purchasers, right? So it does suck that it got delayed, but I am interested in this. I'm going to play it in May for sure because I really do like these Supermassive Game horror games. They're good variety for the streams too. Let's take a look. All right, let's do it. And then after that, we'll see what else you guys want to talk about for the rest of the show. Okay. So, here we go. Directive 8020 from Supermassive Games, their latest and greatest game. Let's see what it's all about.
It's me! You gotta let me in! They're right behind me! Open the fucking door!
It's coming for you.
You can't leave me out here! Please!
I guess you can. Trust or betray. Abandon or save. Abandon? Uh-oh. Oh boy, look at this. So, you know, here's the thing. There will be gameplay elements, it looks like, unlike all dialogue choices. So that's interesting. I wonder if it'll actually have any combat or if it's just going to be survival.
Not one goddamn step.
It's me, please!
Better be a fucking alien.
Oh my god, so it's the thing. That you saw it was two of the same guy? Is it like so the alien was impersonating? It's literally the thing. Only set in space this time. That's interesting.
Leave me out here, please!
The question is, what are you going to do about it?
Look how many there are. Oh, man. Damn. All right, that's even creepier. That not only can they impersonate you, but they can make infinite clones of you, too. So here's the question. You can pre-order it now, right, on Steam? But if you can only follow on Steam. You can pre-order on Xbox and Series X. Can anyone see how much it costs? Because if I go on Steam right now, it's just going to let me wishlist it. But here's why I'm wondering. This is not part of the Dark Pictures anthology, is it? It says it's a Dark Pictures game, but it's not necessarily saying that it's a Dark Pictures anthology. Because I'm wondering, is it just a shorter game? Is it going to be a game that's only like 3 hours long, but you play it a bunch of times? Or is it going to be a longer game? I'm curious. It is. It's considered a Dark Pictures game. It's $50. If it's $50, then it's more expensive than a typical Dark Pictures game. It's the start of the whole new anthology season. Wow, it took them a while, but I'm happy to hear that. Okay. $50, I don't know if it's too short. I mean, I'm gonna buy it and play it. All right, it's not a matter of money to me, but I'm trying to gauge value. Typical Dark Pictures games. I think the longest one was what, 5 hours long? The longest one they ever made. It wasn't that House of Ashes or something like that. Well, I am looking forward to it, especially because it looks like The Thing in space rather than in the snow base or wherever it took place. I forget exactly where The Thing took place. But that looks fun and interesting and creepy, and I'm excited for it. I got it on my calendar now for May. That's a good one. That's one to look out for because I like the Dark Picture stuff, and it's been years now since they came out with one, so it'll be good to have it back now. Okay. Cool. Cool. Okay. So that's all I really had to cover or talk about today. All right. However, one thing we absolutely need to start planning for, and this is up to you if you want to talk about it today or not. We don't have to. We have to start planning for the next marathon. Okay? The next marathon is going to take place on Friday, March 6th, and we have determined it will be a retrothon. What that means is I'll be playing retro games, but the question is what? We did a brief poll, and it seemed like people wanted Nintendo-style games, right? So here's the thing. We could continue the Mega Man Marathon, and we could finish with Mega Man 8 and go into 9 and 10, which very much play like, 8-bit NES games. They're not, but they play like them. Or we could do a bigger variety of games, which would be kind of neat if we maybe did like a Mario and a Zelda and some, I don't know, what are the classics? Metroid, do a little of each. Or we could do, I don't know what we would want to do and how we would handle it, But I guess the question is how to do it, because I want to entertain you, but I also want to have fun, and I want people to get hyped. The last marathon, no one got hyped because no one knew what games were being played, right? It was kind of like a last-minute rush job to plan it. This time around, if we can plan ahead of time, there's a much increased chance that we will get more people to come hang out and check out this marathon and, to be honest, enjoy it and support it. I want to entertain the audience. So what do you guys think? What should it be? Should it be Mega Man continuing? Or should we actually do more like classic Nintendo games that do a more bigger variety? Right? I don't know. A couple shout outs. We have Lance Catamaran, who just gifted a sub over on Kick. Thank you to Lance for the gifted sub. And then we have Buttfuck McAssface, all right, who has just gifted a membership. I probably shouldn't type that on my my stream. There we go. All right. And then I received a $10 super chat from Aaron, who says, this is actually support for Crizzle. Please keep playing it. Aaron, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think we're going to. The audience just didn't like it. The audience was very bored. It was Aaron Nero, actually. The audience was very bored, and quite honestly, I was bored. Now, here's what I said. I said, if people who continued to play the game actually told me that the game gets much better after the fact, that maybe I was right on the cusp of the game getting better with more weapons, abilities, bigger variety of enemies, and everything picking up, then maybe I would consider playing it again. But what I actually heard was that from a couple people who kept playing, no, actually the game is more of the same. The game literally is the same kind of enemy almost the entirety of the game, and it almost never picks up. It's pretty boring throughout. It's that level throughout, in which case I don't think I want to play it again. Okay? Just being honest here. I don't want to do another stream that everyone will be dead. In comparison, like I said, right now, if you take a look at the videos, let's take a look here. Okay? You can't make this up. Here's all the videos I put out yesterday. Are we ready? Here's all the videos that I put out yesterday on the channel. Okay? The morning show, not shockingly, less than 300 views. The morning show doesn't usually do well unless there's a big, important thing going on. And it was just a chill show where we were just covering certain topics, right? The actual videos of Crizzle, okay? Part 1 only has 500 views. Awful for a new release. Part 2 has 163 views. So out of the 500 people who even gave the game a shot, less than half even decided to click on part 2 because they found part 1 so boring. And then part 3, where I actually put kind of a clickbaity thumbnail of horror, only has 250 views. Okay? Compare that with the video that I put out saying that Crizzle is the bait and switch, which now has 1,600 views and climbing. Dude, the Daily Wrap got 600 views. The Daily Wrap beat every video of Crizzle in views. That's bad. Okay? The Daily Wrap usually doesn't do well, and it beat Crizzle. So, likely what this is telling me is that no one really cares for me to continue with Crizzle. All right? Just being honest here. Now, BattleDuck says, well, surely RimWorld isn't doing better. RimWorld does not do well on demand at all, but RimWorld is one of the most engaged streams I have done in years. When I play RimWorld, the stream chat is alive. People are interacting and helping me with the game, and because of that level of interaction, they support the stream. RimWorld is a stream. Does that make sense? RimWorld very much is designed and played it's a stream event. It's not really a game playthrough, if that makes sense. Okay? Narwhal Gaming says, well, is looking at these views important when most of your support is on demand? Well, we already just talked about how the Crizzle stream didn't do well with support on the stream. Right? The stream didn't do well. The videos aren't doing well after the fact. The game is a failure. Do you get it? Like, I've tried. Stream didn't work. On demand's not working. Me telling you the truth about the game, that it's not very good, that's what got the views. So, do you understand where I'm coming from? I hope that makes sense. If not, I don't know how else to clarify the situation, right? Okay. What is flying with balloons? Someone keeps bringing up a game called Flying with Balloons. What in the holy heck is that? I'm going to see if I can find it. Flying with Balloons does not exist on Steam. So I don't know what you're talking about. It's not on there. Okay. Oh, snap. Relooted came out. I didn't know that game came out. We got to play Relooted. We're dropping everything. It came out 2 days ago. Why didn't you guys tell me? We hyped that one up so much. We got to play Relooted. That's like the cultural event of the year. Okay. High Guard 2. Oh, they're making a sequel. That'd be exciting. All right. Well, we will talk about the marathon again soon. The thing is, we're almost out of time for the show. I don't want to talk about it now. Maybe we'll talk about it at a future date. Remember, Friday's Level 1 podcast, because there's no podcast tomorrow. We're just going to have a morning show. Friday's Level 1 podcast will be jam-packed. Why? We're going to be reacting to the state of play and the Silent Hill transmission. So there's probably going to be a ton of videos and things that I'm going to be reacting to. It's going to be a really loaded show on Friday. I hope you guys will be here for that. Also, remember tonight, we are doing DSP Tries It tonight on my late stream of Hellmart. So Hellmart will end on the earlier side. We'll probably do about an hour and a half of Hellmart gameplay tonight. And then we're going to end and we're going to do DSP Tries It Crumble Cookies. So if you want to see that, attend the late night stream. Okay? Good stuff. Okay, what I would like to do for the end of the show, because now we've talked a lot about all these topics, is do a little bit of Q&A. I'm going to allow you guys to just ask me some questions. Tag me in either chat, and let's see what you guys want to talk about. BattleDuck says, too bad your Friday stream will be loaded, because some of us will be loaded. Get it? Like, they're going to get loaded on Friday? A lot of people do get loaded on Friday when they come back from school or work. And, especially from school. You get back from a hard day in, 8th grade, and you just start pounding them. There you go. Please drop Dragon Quest to start Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Lean into my extensive knowledge of games and do a series called The Dark Side of Gaming where I expose netcode and scams. That's not streaming content. I hate to tell you. It's just not. That would be like video essay, investigation style content, which I don't do, because to do that, I'd have to take time away from streaming, which is not really going to pay the bills, honestly. I don't think anyway. I don't think anyone's going to tune into Darkside Phil the Video Essayist. All right. What's my thoughts on Sleeping Beauty? The more sleep you get, you can actually look better. That's true. You can retain your beauty by getting more sleep. Those who don't get a lot of sleep, they tend to have like sunken in eyes, and they end up looking very tired, kind of gaunt. They don't look good, right? So Sleeping Beauty is a real thing. Do I play other fighting games besides Street Fighter? I have. I've played Mortal Kombat and Injustice from Midway / NetherRealm now. I don't know why I called them Midway. They're NetherRealm now. I've played Tekken before. I've played Soul Calibur. I've played versus style games like the Marvel series. I play classic Street Fighter stuff when it's available. So yes, I do. The thing is, Street Fighter is what I grew up playing. I was literally there the day when Street Fighter 2 arrived at my local arcade and played it against everyone for the first time. And I used to travel and play Street Fighter at a professional level for tournament play. So I have the most extensive knowledge of Street Fighter than I have any other fighting game. Not to say that like I couldn't jump into, say, Tekken and play it at a decent level, without practicing. I could. Like I usually play with like Paul or King, and I know some good stuff with them. But in general, Street Fighter is the game I have the most experience with. I've played the best at, and therefore it's easiest for me to jump into. So, for example, later this year, there's going to be more fighting games coming out, like the Invincible Versus game. There's a rumor that Marvel Tokon might come out. I will probably check those games out when they come out. I don't know if I'll stick with them, but I'll probably at least give them a go when they launch. Am I playing Tokyo Scramble? No, we watched the trailer yesterday, or last week, I meant to say, and dude, it was not good. The game, first, if you hear about it, you're like, oh, it's about dinosaurs have invaded Tokyo and people are like scrambling to survive. Oh, that's interesting. So it's kind of like Dino Crisis, right? Then you watch the trailer. And that's all I'm going to say. All you got to do is watch the trailer and you'll be like, and once I watched it, I was like, I don't think I'm interested in this. This is because at first I was. The premise of the game sounds good. And the trailer completely turned me off from wanting to play the game. So, Texas Shooter, yes, I have played Metal Slug before. In fact, I've played a lot of Metal Slug back in the day when they were arcade games on the SNK cabinets. I played like 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think there's another one too. Like I played a bunch of them back in the day. And they're great games. I haven't played them in a million years, but I have played them. In what years of my life did I have the most trouble sleeping? Actually, my 20s. My 20s. I had a lot of problems. Back then, I was messed up. My head was kind of in the wrong place a lot of the time. I was depressed. I didn't think my life was going anywhere, or that it was going anywhere where I wanted it to go, and that anything would happen in my life that would be like fun or meaningful. I'm serious. Like I was really in a bad way. So it was pretty hard to sleep when you don't really like what's going on when you're awake, and then you can't stop thinking about it. It was pretty messed up stuff. So, but it's been a while, and things are so much better now. Seriously. Thank you, Rose Diamonds. I'll see you tonight for Helmar. Sounds good. Did he? James Vanderbeek has just passed away. That's sad. For those who don't know, James Vanderbeek used to play the main guy on what was it? Dawson's Creek, right? He was the main actor on Dawson's Creek. I wonder what happened. Yeah, look, here it is. James Vanderbeek. I'm trying to find it. Oh, he had cancer. He was 48 years old. That sucks. He didn't do much after that, though. Like, Dawson was really his biggest role. And I guess he did do some acting after because they're showing pictures of him from other roles he did. But you didn't really hear about him after Dawson's Creek, right? Like, not really. That sucks. It sucks. He's too young, man. 48 years old. And dying of cancer like that. It's terrible. Sheesh. I know, it's sad. Please do exercise streams. I'm very, very strongly opposed to probably doing anything ever like that. The only way I ever would is if I do actually get my workout room set up nicely and I do get a machine so that I can actually do the exercises like properly. You know, right now I'm doing everything bootleg. I got 2 free weights that I really don't even have the space to be doing the exercises. So I'm just kind of, you know, very bootleg doing it. Although it's crazy because I have lost a ton of weight. I've toned up everywhere from how I used to be just doing it bootleg. So if I get this machine and I get to actually do stuff, you know, the right way, maybe then I would document some of that. But I'm just not going to be doing it with the bootleg shit that I'm doing now. That's for sure. Jeez, really? Tony Jaa's also dealing with awful cancer. Jeez, man. It takes so many people, and a lot of people who are just so early in their lives. Like Tony Jaa is like a lifelong, like, fit guy. I mean, he's his own bak. He's a freaking martial artist. It's crazy. Imagine how buff I will get with a machine. I won't get overly buff because machines have weight limits. Like, in general, I've been looking at certain machines, and it seems like, in general, the weight limit is anywhere between 150 to 200 pounds. That's it. Like, they don't go above that. If you want to pump more than 200 pounds for any exercise, you got to go to the gym and weight up free weight or load up free weights, you know? But that's okay. I'm totally okay with that. I don't think I want to go crazy and be doing insane amounts of, you know, heavy lifting. No, I'm not going to go on TikTok. Guys, I'm way past the age range for TikTok. TikTok is for teens and 20-year-olds. It's not for 43, about to be 44-year-old internet gameplay streamers. Like, no one's going to be watching Darkside Phil on TikTok. No one gives a shit. Imagine me doing a meme dance. There you go. Come on, let's do the latest TikTok challenge. Drinking 14 gallons of Nesquik in one sitting. Sounds like a plan that an intelligent person would do. Okay. All right, guys, last chance for questions. Let's go. And then what we'll do is we will adjourn, take a little break, and we will go fully into Hollow Knight today. Going to try to get roughly 2.5 to 3 hours of gameplay in. We're in a great spot. First thing we're doing today is taking on a super boss. One of the hardest bosses in the game. It's the harder version of the Soul Master we just beat, but we got to beat him, the harder version. Hopefully we get a good reward, and then we got to continue with the whole Soul Sanctum exploration and all of that. So it's going to be a fun, challenging stream today. Do I want to get plastic surgery? Actually, so I have to reveal something right now, everyone. All right, I've never shared this with anyone on the internet before until this very moment. Okay? I have already undergone extensive plastic surgery. This was the end result after. So can you imagine what I looked like before? This is the reduced jowls. Best 90s snack for you. It was fruit by the foot, says nothing here. Best 1990s snack. Ooh. What did I eat the most of in the 90s? That's a tough question. 80s, I'd have a better answer. I used to always eat Starburst, and I used to eat these little, like, gummy flavored things. I can't remember what they were called, but they were chewy, and they had fruit flavors. I loved those. Not Gushers. It was pre-Gushers, because these didn't have, like, juice in them. But, man, I'm struggling to remember my snacks of the 90s. What did I eat in the 90s? Shoot. Aaron did another $10 super chat, sending me a smooch, and says, would you ever play Balatro again? Yes, I really like Balatro. I played it for like a month on and off in early 2025. It was late 2024, early 2025. And I really liked it, actually. You know, personally, I like poker. I used to play it with my friends, and I used to watch stuff like World Series of Poker and everything. So I really like it, and Balatro being a spin on poker, a new kind of take on poker, makes it fun to me. And we actually unlocked a bunch of decks, and we're doing things, and then basically what happened was just like a lot of these indie games, after playing it like maybe 5 streams, 4 streams, it kind of wore out its interest. People weren't that interested in it anymore, so we stopped playing it. But I would definitely go back to Balatro on a stream if people wanted me to. Soda Delicious was the best fruit snack, says Buckwell. Never tried Soda Delicious. Don't know what that one is. Dunkaroos. I remember Dunkaroos. They were the like cracker sticks. You would dunk into the frosting, different frosting flavors like chocolate, vanilla. I think there was a caramel, stuff like that. I remember Dunkaroos. But weren't they have something to do with like a kangaroo? That's why they were called Dunkaroos? Buckwell says the best version of Balatro is the mobile version, so you could play it on the shitter. Well, that's just what I want to do. Thanks for sharing. What's up, King Michael? How's it going today, man? It's good to see ya. Chris, how are you? Good to see ya. Warheads? Oh, yeah, I used to have the Warheads. The super sour kind is the one I used to have. Nuclear Warheads. They were the candies that were small candy, hard candies, but man, they were like ultra sour, but then sweet in the middle. I remember Warheads. Hell yeah. Bring back Truck Sim again? I'll think about that.
No. Truck Sim shall not return.
Yes, the $100 animation does still work. It is still Super Bowl themed. So for the low price of $100, we can see that again if you'd like to. Go for it. Let's go. Aaron with another smooch. Thanks for $10. He says, I miss your streams due to work, but I always watch the replay. Here's my support. Thank you so much to Aaron for yet another $10 super chat. You're awesome. Thank you, man. That's a lot of support this morning, and I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Greetings, Joshua. Nerds Ropes. Never tried Nerds Ropes. I did have Fruit by the Foot. I liked Fruit by the Foot, actually, to various different flavors. I was a big Fruit Roll-Ups kid in the 80s. And then when the 90s hit, I got into, like, the newer snacks, like Fruit by the Foot and Gushers and stuff like that. Brandonson says, do you think you will still be streaming when GTA 7 comes out? We'll all be dead when GTA 7 comes out. Thank you, Lance Catamaran, for a gifted sub over on Kick. That's the second gifted from this morning, which means you now are on the leaderboard with 2 gifted subs this morning. Thank you for that. You made it. Free JT just did a $2 super chat and says, when will we play Kenshi? Don't know. Kenshi, I had actually downloaded a while back and said that I would play if people wanted, and we actually did polling and stuff, and we never got around to playing it. There never seemed to be like a consensus to try it, but I'm not opposed to playing it. So I guess if there's enough desire, I would check it out at some point. Do I miss Telltale style of games? Here's the thing. At that time, in that era, the Telltale style of narrative-based game, right? Well, Back to the Future, Walking Dead, and its various iterations and seasons, the 2 seasons of Batman, Tales from the Borderlands, Game of Thrones. I keep going because there were so many of those games, right? There were many more than that. They kind of were their own genre, their own style, and the fact that you could get licensing, right? And make a game in that style, and it would be an original and fun story. It was awesome. It really was. The thing is, that style works for someone who's doing a more on-demand video. Reason I say that is because when you're doing a narrative-style game, you kind of need to really, really focus on said game and get immersed in what's going on so you can get invested in the choices and the things that are happening. The reason that it doesn't really work that well in the modern day is because I'm an interactive streamer. So now when I'm trying to do a narrative-based game, I have to talk with you as well, and I have to answer questions. I have to do shout outs for contributions. And when I'm doing that, it takes away from the focus on the game. So, for example, this year, I am planning on playing the next Life is Strange, and I am planning on playing Directive 8020. Those playthroughs are going to be challenging because I really should be focused here, but instead I may be here. You know what I mean? And that's tough to make the right to make the right choices and care that much. You know what I mean? These days, it's harder to get more immersed in a story because the story, a lot of the times, is about us interacting with said game than just the game. So there was an era when the Telltale games were like very prominent. People used to say they thought that me playing a narrative-based game and commentating over it was my best content. Heavy Rain and The Walking Dead, games like that. Today, people don't really tune in that well for them. I'm being honest. Like when I've played games like Life is Strange and even the last one or two supermassive games, they didn't do as well. So the thing is, times change. Things evolve. I like that style. I'm definitely playing a couple of them this week, or this year, I should say. I'm just not sure how they're going to do. I guess we'll have to find out together, right? Someone just did a $2 tip and says, you've been to King Station in Hollow Knight. You missed something. What's usually in a station? Like a train or a trolley or a tram? You're right. No, I think I got to King Station. I turboed through it and didn't do anything, right? Like I didn't actually like explore it because I didn't have a map, so I didn't know what was going on. And I just kept going and going, and I ended up in the Soul Sanctum. And after Soul Sanctum, you know, we'll probably go back for sure. Have I heard that it's rumored HBO is not bringing back Last of Us TV for season 3 due to poor reception from viewers? Yeah, to be honest with you, I think they probably wouldn't have done the second half of season 2 if it hadn't been split the way it was. Because season 2 tanked views-wise compared to season 1. Like, I'm talking half, right? So they probably wouldn't have even done the third season if they didn't need to finish telling the story of 2. But here's the thing. If the show had done really well, they might have continued, and that would have been interesting because we basically would have had a Fallout situation where they're not making any more games, but instead they're making a show that continues the story, and now everyone has to accept that as canon, right? But now I think that they're not going to keep going. They're not going to make new material. They're just going to say, just tell the story and end it because it's not even that well received. And by the way, can you believe, like, you remember the ending of Last of Us 2, right? How do you think that they're going to react to that? It's not good. The ending of Last of Us 2 is not good. It's awful, actually. So I'm really curious how people are going to react to that in television form. I can't imagine it's going to be a positive reception. Someone just did a $2 chip and says, I'm Sandy Kane from The Naked Cowgirl, and I used to do coke all the time in the 90s, but now I do it in any weather. Thanks for the $2. Okay. Excuse me. All righty then. King Michael says, I was at H&R Block for 2 hours. Now I'm back. So you're doing your taxes? I only did my taxes once ever with one of those tax companies. And I can't remember if it was H&R Block. There's another one, too, that's popular, right? The in-person tax company. All I could say is this. They did my taxes completely wrong. I know they did. And I went there. This was the first year I was a YouTuber because I wasn't making any money on YouTube at all. And then all of a sudden, at the very end of 2010, I ended up making a ton of money on YouTube. And so I had to do my taxes differently. I didn't get a tax guy at that point. Like, I didn't pay a tax attorney. I just went to H&R Block. They had no clue how to do the taxes. They didn't have a lick of idea of how to do the taxes at all. And so they kept asking me questions, asking me for more documentation. And at the end of the day, they charged me a ton of money. I was like, I thought the whole idea of doing taxes with you is that you're cheaper. And they were like, oh, but your taxes were different because you had your regular pay from your old job, then you had this miscellaneous from your new job, and we charge you more for that. And I was like, then I'm just going to fucking get a tax attorney, and that's what I did. After that, I was like, I'm not going to go to you. You guys are ripping me off. I'm just going to go pay for the real deal then. Is it TurboTax? I feel like it wasn't TurboTax. Like there was another company that used to do it back then, and that's who I went to, but I can't remember. I mean, you're talking 15, 16 years ago. Okay. All right, folks. I think that's where we're going to end it. This was a great podcast, all right? Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the discussion. We have to figure out, moving forward, how to tackle stuff, particularly these new indie games, right? Support, how to handle that too. So let's hope that things do go well and go smoothly moving forward, and that we can find the right balance, right? Really, it's about finding the right balance. It's not that if I never ask for contributions and I fail, that's not going to work. If I ask too much for contributions, then I could skew that and judge a game unfairly based on support that really isn't particularly for that game. But in addition, I could piss people off. So that's the big topic we talked about today. I would love feedback, and I'm sure some people will actually leave nice, constructive feedback on this video as comments, and I appreciate you. There'll also be complete dickheaded losers who will say terrible things, horrible things, and then they'll clip it, and they'll try to, make content out of it because they're life losers. I don't care about those people. Don't worry about it, okay? But I would love honest, constructive feedback on what you think, all right? All righty, everybody. So remember, tomorrow, there will not be a podcast. Reason being, tomorrow, I'm going to do a morning show, and I'm going to try to get a lot of gameplay in of Dragon Quest, all right? So I do hope that you will join me for a fun day tomorrow, but I'll be back on Friday for a very jam-packed show, including reacting to the state of play and reacting to the Silent Hill transmission. So, thank you all so very much for an awesome show. I had a great time. I hope that you did too. And I will see you all soon for the next week-ending episode of the Level 1 Podcast. Peace out, everybody.